my sneakers to the ground. I do not jump, I move the earth down. Bear witness to the genius of my sound. Born at the bottom, but now I'm top down. Look, I'ma call it swagger. I slip through time zones like a cloak and dagger. Mad rubies on my chain. You can see your name bubbling, blood vein. Your girl's in my A because she's sipping on my champagne. That's right, 6 figures in my back pocket. And that's right, 1 million in my safe deposit. That's right, I'm trill all day. On my way to.
All right, what's up, everybody? I hope everyone's having a great start to their week. Welcome back to the Best Damn Clemson show, where we cover the latest news in the sports world. I'm Evan Cooley, and today I'm joined by...
What's up, guys? It's Cole Gerard. Welcome back to another episode. Today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to let you guys join the conversation where you can call in or text in and give us your opinions about Clemson and what you want to talk about.
Yeah, and we're really excited to hear from y'all. And today we'll be diving into a lot of college football. College football is going strong with conference matchups about to hit full force as the season is about a month in now. And today we will discuss Clemson's game this weekend, where they will be hosting their rival, NC State, what to expect with Grayson McCall, NC State's quarterback, being out of the lineup. And lastly, we'll get into our top matchups of the weekend. And as always, like Cole mentioned, we want this show to be about you, the fans. So if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to call into the show today or drop a comment in the chat, and we'll be sure to address it during the show. All right, Cole, how was your bye week?
We beat the bye 56-0 this week, so obviously that's a good win, good momentum coming into the NC State game. But I'm excited, man. It's always a good time when you're playing NC State, and it sucks to hear the news about Grayson McCall. I mean, I was really looking forward to actually playing against him because I was a big Grayson McCall fan when he was at Coastal. I always knew he would eventually be D1 or go D. Or sorry, he was D1, but Power 4. I hope that he recovers well from his injuries. It sucks that he's not going to be able to play in the Valley. It was going to be a rough one for him, but. It's always been cool to watch Grayson McCall grow up at Coastal, being right near my hometown. So, But I mean, 6'6" freshman they got starting. I mean, I've only heard good things about him, so I guess we'll see.
Yeah, and we'll get into McCall and his backup a little bit later in the show. And let's start off by talking about Clemson and what we want to see from them. Obviously, we want a big offensive performance like they had against App State. I doubt they'll have as strong of a first half as they did for a long time. But what are some things that you're looking to see out of this Clemson offense right when the game kicks off?
I just want to see great play calling like versus App State. Don't try to switch anything up. Then use the same game plan you have versus App State. Come in there, ready to throw the ball, ready to be aggressive on offense. Obviously we don't know who's going to be out on defense. I mean, we've had a couple guys go down. He talked about Peter Woods being day to day. Dabo is not really going to tell you who's out or who's not out unless they're actually out for the year, like you mentioned, Dietrich Pennington today. I just want to keep our foot on the gas. I don't want to try to be cute on offense. We did all this Saturday. We're just going to go back to our normal game plan as versus Georgia. You keep firing. Get all that disrespect out of Clemson football.
I agree, and I think a big part of it too is they had the bye week. They had a lot of confidence going into that bye week. I'm very happy that bye week came after a win like App State rather than a loss, where it's on the guys' minds the whole week. Instead, they had some confidence, and I'm sure that was apparent out there on the practice field in those 4 days that they practiced over the bye week. And I agree. I don't want to see conservative play calling at all on the offensive side of the ball. I think that against Georgia, we were playing, like we've said, like we were scared to make a mistake, and the play calling showed that. It was very conservative passes, short passes down the field. And then when we did have a big play down the field, it seemed like there was something that brought it back, whether it was a penalty or some other issue. But against App State, really everything aligned, and that showed up in the scoreboard and on the stat sheet. But the big thing for me is just how they're going to respond to really what happens when they do have a bad play. Because against App State, there weren't any issues in that first half with all the starters in there. They didn't go 3 and out, And against this NC State defense, there's going to be drives where we don't come away with points, and that's fine. But I'm really looking to see how we respond after those drives that don't that don't put points on the board.
Like you just said, being scared to make a mistake. I'm like, obviously, this isn't going to sound like, oh, making mistakes is good or anything. But I mean, if you're just being aggressive play calling wise, throwing in the middle of the field, deep routes, getting separation with your wide receivers, and you just make a mistake and the play doesn't come down, that's fine. I mean, you're always going to get better play by play, but I mean, don't be so scared that you're going to make a mistake to, just be conservative with it. You know what I'm saying? So, like,
yeah,
I was just want to see the same thing for Staff State, because it's going to hurt if we just go out there and it's just like, where's this team that I saw 2 weeks ago?
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm excited to see the chemistry that continues to develop with this offense, with all the weapons that we have, and especially that O-line, how they continue to develop. Obviously, a lot of them have been around the Clemson program for a while, but like the center, this is his first year really getting a lot of playing time for us. Yeah, and so I'm excited to see how really his chemistry with Cade continues to develop. And Matt Luke, I think, is doing great things with the offensive line. And I'm excited to see what they can do for Phil Malfa. Obviously, he's coming off of a performance where he had 118 yards against App State before the bye week, and including that 83-yard touchdown. And so I'm really excited to see what this offense is going to do and how we're going to incorporate TJ Moore and Bryant Westco like we did against App State.
Right.
So,
I just like they said earlier, depth charts don't hardly change. They're kind of put the same thing on them as they did week one, just don't switch. And now, of course, Clemson fans were freaking out when Brian Westco was listed as the second guy out wide. I'm like, he's going to start. They're not just going to look at 3 catches for 131 yards and say, yeah, you can play next week. So I do expect Bryant to get a lot more touches. I feel like 2 of them were 70 yards apiece, so obviously you can't be too greedy. But I expect TJ and Bryant to get a lot more touches, and hopefully, like you said, Tyler Brown's still day to day. Hopefully he needs a big game. It's been a while for Tyler Brown's name called a lot. He hasn't got that start that he needed to this year, so it'll be fun to see him get in and gets a lot of touches.
Yeah, and I think a big thing too is with how loaded the depth is at the wide receiver position. We had 13 guys with a catch against App State. I think that really each game is going to be, they're going to roll a bunch of guys out early, and whoever's hot is hot, and they're going to roll with them the rest of the way. So that's a thing I like about the depth is the guys that are performing really well, those are the guys that are going to be playing. And if for some reason one of the guys isn't having the best day, then that's all right, because there's a lot of depth behind whoever it is. So,
I'm not expecting us to go out there first play of the game, air it out. If we do, cool. I'm cool with it. I'm not going to be that greedy, but just don't be conservative. And I think finally they understand that as a coaching staff, because I'm sure, like I said last week, I'm sure that it was the same game plan as Georgia. Like, hey, I don't think we looked as bad as people think. Like, obviously they block out the outside noise, but I'm sure Dabo, like he said it is what he's like, I don't think we performed as bad as people think.
Yeah.
And I get that. And I'm sure after the first 2 plays, he's like, all right, this is it right here. We got to open it up, and they finally did. And it was just a night full of offense.
Yeah. Yeah. And looking at the defensive side of the ball in this game, obviously we'll get into a little bit now. Grayson McCall is going to be out. The transfer quarterback coming in from Coastal, that was expected to be one of the top quarterbacks in the ACC this season. And we wish him a speedy recovery, obviously. But his replacement is a 6'6" freshman. And he played well in the limited time that he got in their last game. And Clemson's defensive coordinator, Wes Goodwin, was talking to him today in his media availability about him, and he said that he really feels like NC State's offense rallied around him when he came in the game. And for a freshman, he showed great leadership out there in the short amount of time he got. And I agree with Wes, and I think that he's obviously a guy that you can't overlook. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of bright lights in his face coming into Death Valley for his first career start. But he's definitely not a guy that you can overlook at all.
Yeah, I didn't watch any of the LA Tech game, but I mean, if they were down at one point, I'm pretty sure when before McCall got hurt. But I mean, stuff I've seen so far on Twitter or X, NC State fans are confident in this guy, and
Yeah.
you know, I'm gonna have to go watch a little bit of his highlights from last week just to kind of see what they're saying. But I mean, they're confident they could come in Death Valley and get a win. I mean, obviously they're 2-1 against us in the last 3 years, so I mean, NC State's not scared. But I mean, 2 of the losses or 2 of their wins are both at home. So, I mean, obviously, it's a 12 o'clock game. Anybody thinks they can come in Death Valley and win at 12 o'clock. And I wish it was a night game. You can't beat a night game in the Valley. But, I mean, I've never seen a freshman 6'6" quarterback.
Yeah.
I'm probably looking at a lot of guys, but, I mean, 6'6" is tall. I mean, I got a buddy that he's 6'5", and I feel like he's 8 foot tall. Yeah. He was an offensive lineman in high school. So, seeing a quarterback like that is going to be cool or a little insane. But,
yeah. And with him getting his first career start, I want to see this defense get a lot of pressure on him and see how he handles the pressure from Clemson's D-line. And obviously, the talking point of this Clemson defense right now is that through 2 games, they only have 1 sack. And Clemson's defensive coordinator, Wes Goodwin, as I mentioned earlier, also talked about that in his press conference today. And he said that doesn't really tell the whole story. Because against App State, they were forcing Aguilar, their quarterback, to get the ball off in about 2.1 seconds. And he was explaining that it takes the defensive line about 2.7 seconds to get out there. And so he was saying that they're forcing good pressure on these quarterbacks. They're just not getting to them, but they're still forcing them to throw the ball early and trusting the DBs to go out there and make a play. And he also did talk about that the coverage and how that can also impact it, because if the coverage is tight, the quarterback's gonna hold on to that ball a little longer and give that defensive line time to get back there. So obviously everything's got to go right to get back there to the quarterback, and it's not just on the defensive line; it's on all phases of that defense. But I really want to see them force a lot of pressure on this freshman quarterback and see how he handles it.
You know, it's going to be a fun thing, or not even a fun thing, just who can say they've been a freshman guy coming in? You know, it's week 4 now, week 4 3. I'm getting confused with the bye week. Can say they're coming in as a freshman and starting in Death Valley. I don't think a lot of people can say they've made their first career start as a freshman in Death Valley. So obviously that's a big task to take on. I mean, he's obviously going to say, oh, man, we're going to come in here with great energy and win this ball game. As soon as he steps in that stadium, when 80,000 full, the Tigers run down the hill, I think it's going to be a rough day for him at quarterback. I'm about to say behind the dish. He's not catching, but So it'll be cool to see. But, I mean, obviously, I hope we win big. The spread keeps going up and up. So he opened up at like us -7, but now it's at like 20.5.
Yeah, and I'm sure he'll be feeling that pressure early, but at the same time, if he makes a big play there early in the game, you can expect those nerves to calm down a little bit for him, and hopefully he doesn't gain too much confidence throughout the game. But if he can go out there early in that game and make a couple big plays, then we'll see what happens. But yeah, and we'll talk a little more about this game when we get back from this break after a word from our sponsors.
Are you tired of scrolling endlessly to find the perfect deal?
Who said that?
Me.
Ah! Who are you? How did you get in my house?
Be not afraid. I'm the Frugal Fairy. See, at the Frugaling Shop, we bring the best deals to your doorstep, so you can spend less time searching and more time saving.
Yes, hello? There's a man with wings standing in my living room, and I'm scared.
Home isn't just a place, it's a feeling. That's what Harbor Oasis became for me, a slice of home in Anderson, South Carolina. I stumbled upon this heartwarming marketplace. Roaming through aisles of handcrafted treasures and local art, I felt each piece whispering stories of passion and dedication. It's a place where warmth meets creativity. Join me in experiencing this magical oasis. Explore the beauty, attend soul-enriching workshops, and support local artisans. See for yourself how Harbor Oasis can become a part of your story too. Experience the joy today at Harbor Oasis, located at 5013 SC 24 in Anderson. Have you ever stumbled upon a flavor sensation that sweeps you off your feet? That's Waffle Drop. Nestled in the heart of Greenville, we've spun up the traditional bubble waffle, a thrilling mix of pancake and waffle into an art form. From the whimsical Lil Blue Panda to the decadent Ferrero Rocher ice cream, every bite is an adventure. Imagine savoring a bubble waffle wrapped around your favorite ice cream. Now stop imagining. Visit us at Hampton Station or our new location at 500 Congaree Road in Greenville, which is open during the week to embark on your own delightful journey. Buy now and feel the happiness we blend into every serving. Experience the joy today at Waffle Drop.
All right, welcome back, everybody. And before we move on, Cole, let's get into some score predictions here for the Clemson game. Obviously, I would say that our score predictions changed a little bit with the news of Grayson McCall being out. What's your new score prediction?
Well, I guess we can do a little bit of both. We can say score predictions when Grayson McCall is going to play, and score predictions when now he's out.
Okay.
So before he was ruled out, I still thought our defense was going to show up and give him a rough day. But I mean, I was going to say it would be like a 28-17 kind of game, 35-17. But I mean, I can't speak too much on this freshman. I don't know how he's going to come out here and play. I mean, it could go two ways, but I mean, obviously our defense is top 5 in the country. But I want to see a lot of offense, and I want to say that it's going to be a high scoring game for us. But I mean, we played a low tier defense in App State, so I mean, I'm gonna go 35-10, 38-10.
Okay, I like that. Okay, I was thinking along the same lines. I'm gonna go 35-13. I don't think it'll be a bad performance from the freshman quarterback. I think he's got a lot of potential and looked pretty good when he came into their last game. I think with how good our defense is, the pressure is going to be a little bit too much on him. But NC State does have playmakers. They have a great running back who transferred in from Duke. They have a lot of other great playmakers, so I think that'll help them a little bit in the scoring column and get those 13 points. But when you look at their defense has struggled big time this season. They gave up 21 to Western Carolina, who's an FCS team, and who didn't make the playoffs last year. And then they gave up 51 to Tennessee, and obviously Tennessee has a great offense, but giving up 51 to any team, regardless of who it is, does not reflect too well on your defense. So because of that, I'm gonna give Clemson the 35-13 win.
I can agree with that. I'd love to see NC State put up a field goal, maybe. Try to give them a little offense as possible. Could Peter Woods might not play. I mean, I don't think. I wouldn't play him if we didn't really need to. I mean, if we want to give him a couple reps, get him a couple reps, but don't kind of force him into a hard game. We still have a long way to go, and this is only our first ACC matchup. So, I'd love to see us with a big offensive game and just hold them as little points as possible, just to kind of get that respect back to Clemson football's name, which we haven't seen in about 4 years.
Yeah, I agree completely, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. Kickoff will be at noon Eastern on Saturday. So everyone tune in to watch, or we'll see you there at the stadium. Now, Cole, let's move in a little bit to the other games around the country this weekend. Like I said earlier, the conference matchups are really about to take off, and so I have a few highlighted that I'm going to be really interested in, and I'll be tuning into. What are a couple of the games that you're looking at right now?
I mean, obviously we got Clemson and NC State playing, and I'm gonna go Michigan, USC. I feel like we talked about this one pre-show that we think USC's coming in at number 11 in the country. I don't think me personally, I don't think Michigan should be ranked after what Texas came in and did to them in Ann Arbor. I didn't think about this Friday matchup. Number 22 Nebraska versus number 24 Illinois. So that'll be a good Friday matchup. So those are a couple games that I have highlighted on the Saturday slate. So what you got?
Yeah. I'm really interested in that Illinois-Nebraska game too. I didn't have that one highlighted, but I'm very interested in that. Obviously, two teams that, Nebraska, I would say people were aware that they were starting to come back a little bit. With Matt Rule as their head coach, obviously he had a lot of success in college before he moved on to the NFL to coach the Panthers, but he's back in college, and looks like Nebraska's getting back to being like they were a while ago, which is exciting to see, because I think everyone around the country kind of feels like college football is college football when Nebraska's good for some reason. So I'm excited to see that game. And I'm very surprised with Illinois. I did not expect to see Illinois in the AP top 25 at all this season, so good for them. And then obviously NC State, Clemson. And then I also highlighted USC, Michigan. I think USC is going to destroy them, though. I think Miller Moss, USC's quarterback, is one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the country. And with Lincoln Riley, obviously, he's coached a lot of great quarterbacks during his coaching career. He's had Kyler Murray, Caleb Williams, and Miller Moss now. So obviously he's doing something right over there, and I think that they're going to destroy a Michigan team that looks like it completely lost its identity after their national championship last season. Another game I'm looking at is another ACC matchup, Georgia Tech against Louisville. Georgia Tech coming off of a tough loss to Syracuse on the road, but they have a great offense, and they're playing a Louisville team that's found their way back in the rankings after a 10-win season last year. So I think that's going to be a great game. That one's hard to predict for me, but I think that'll be a really entertaining game and a high-scoring game. And then I'm also looking at number 6 Tennessee at number 15 Oklahoma.
I can't believe I didn't mention that one.
Oklahoma's first SEC game, and I think that they're going to get a rude awakening into SEC football. I think Tennessee has one of the top offenses in the country, and Oklahoma's played in a couple tight games that shouldn't have been tight to start the season. And I think that Tennessee is going to prove that they're a top 5 team in the country this week and give Oklahoma their first ever SEC loss. And then lastly, I've got highlighted number 12 Utah and number 14 Oklahoma State. Hopefully Cam Rising's playing. Hopefully he's healthy. When he does, they don't really lose. And Oklahoma State, obviously they've had a couple tight games too, but they're still undefeated. And that's a massive game in the Big 12 race. I think in my opinion, those are the top 2 teams. You could add Kansas State in there, but Utah and Oklahoma State are definitely 2 of the top 3 teams in that conference. So it'll go a long way in determining who gets the automatic bid into the playoffs.
I want to speak to that Tennessee-Oklahoma game for a little bit. And obviously you were talking about how Oklahoma had a couple close games. They did. Mm-hmm. That should have been close. But, I mean, this is Oklahoma's first game in the SEC. It's a home game. It's college game day. I mean, this could go 2 ways. I mean, this Oklahoma team could show up for their fan. I mean, this is a big deal. I mean, this first time in SEC football after being in the Big 12 forever. So I mean, yeah, I don't know. I definitely think Tennessee's offense is going to come in, scoring some points. But I wouldn't be surprised if Oklahoma gives them a fight just because of the monumental, like, it's for history. So I mean, why not?
Yeah. I see that point. I think this game goes a long way too for both teams. Obviously, it's both of their first SEC games, and while a loss for either team wouldn't ruin their season, it would definitely be a big resume win. And no team wants to start off 0-1 in conference. I think it's a massive opportunity for both teams. But when you look at Tennessee, I think that everyone knows their offense has been good the last few years with their once they hired that new coaching staff. But I think that this is the first year that Tennessee's defense is really a top defense in the country. And I think they have a complete team this year, which a lot of other top teams, I don't really think they do. I think a lot of other top teams have either a really great offense or a really great defense. Well, I think Tennessee's roster all around is pretty stacked this year, especially on that D line.
Yeah. Obviously, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Iamaleava.
Yeah, we'll say Nico.
Yeah. So, obviously, I mean, he's a good quarterback. I mean, this is his first year starting. Is it?
Yeah, first year. He started the bowl game. The bowl game was his first ever start.
Yeah. Kai says Tennessee is stacked. Yeah, they're pretty up there. So, I mean, obviously, Tennessee's going to come in and play some good football. I mean, obviously, they're wanting to put a stamp on a SEC title run. Trying to get in the playoffs for the first time. Josh Heupel had a lot to say in his media availability. I watched that because he was fired from Oklahoma. I think he was the offense coordinator. I can't remember if he was the OC or DC, but he was fired by Bob Stoops in 2014, 15. I mean, Brent Venables was fired as well from Oklahoma as their DC. Yeah. So he was like, "Yeah, I expect Oklahoma to be quiet when we're on offense." And so he said a little thing. He said a couple things he shouldn't have said, and I'm sure that's getting around to the Oklahoma locker room. So, like I said, just because of the history of this game being the first one, college game day. I mean, this Oklahoma team is going to come out pissed. And any Brent Venables led team is not going to come in and just let you walk all over them.
I agree, but I think Oklahoma's lucky that this is a home game. I think if their first SEC game was at Tennessee at Neyland Stadium, that would be a blowout, like a massive blowout for Oklahoma. But luckily for Oklahoma, it's a home game for them. The SEC might have helped them out a little bit with that, but we'll see. We definitely have a great slate of games this weekend, though, compared to last weekend. I'm excited for it.
I'm just happy to be able to watch Clemson play again. I mean, it was terrible having to, watch another Tiger team beat South Carolina. At least with the Tigers. I'm not going to speak into that game because obviously not a lot of people are happy with the officiating. So
yeah, and we'll be right back after a short word from our sponsors.
Nick and Norman's is a brand new restaurant on the West End. Located at
Are you tired of scrolling endlessly?
Nick and Norman's is a brand new restaurant on the West End. Located at 1 Augusta Street, we are bringing unique Southern-inspired cuisine and a speakeasy vibe to Greenville. Created by an ownership group headlined by Norman Reedus and Greg Nicotero, Nick and Norman's is more than just a restaurant. It's a destination for an unforgettable dining experience. Our hours are Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Our phone number is 864-236-5446. We also have a private dining room, so call for booking. Be sure to follow us on social media, on Instagram, and on Facebook.
They say a home is a safe haven, but what about when that safety is threatened? Last year, a storm hit our area hard, and suddenly the roof over my head, my family's shelter, was compromised. I felt vulnerable. But then Canopy Roofing stepped in. Their dedication, much like that of a caring family, restored more than just our roof. They restored our sense of security. If you're ever in need, let Canopy protect your haven too. Experience the same peace of mind. See for yourself how Canopy Roofing can safeguard your family's comfort and safety.
Have you ever bitten into a pizza and just known your taste buds were experiencing something totally unique? That was me at Crust and Craft in Greenville. Nestled right at 123 South Main Street, this isn't your average pizza joint. Their claim of "we do pizza differently" couldn't be truer. With creations like the Low Country Seafood Boil Pizza and exquisite $10 lunch specials, they're crafting flavors that defy the norm. Plus, the vibe? Unbeatable, especially with their new cocktail menu to sip on the patio. Head over to Crust and Craft Greenville, taste the difference for yourself, and seriously, do not miss out on their happy hour. Grab your slice of heaven today.
Ever find yourself needing custom gear that really stands out? At Carolina Printing Sports and Trophy in Hartsville, SC, we personalize everything from t-shirts to trophies, making sure your brand or team logo pops. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, or dazzling plaques, we've got you covered. Swing by today and let's create something unique just for you.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We appreciate you all for joining us today on this episode of the Best Damn Clemson Show with Evan and Cole. We'll be back next Tuesday. And we'll break down NC State's game and the games around the country, and we'll also look forward, look ahead to the next weekend's slate of games. And we appreciate you all for joining us today, and we'll talk to you all next week.